I need someone to define what a comedian is. What's their job? What do they do? Oh, you know what? I have a computer right here. Let's see. Comedian is an entertainer whose act is designed to make an audience laugh. Is an entertainer whose act, job, career is designed to make an audience laugh. That is a comedian, and that's a comedian's job, right? How does a comedian know what's funny? If my job is to make you laugh, how do I know for one person what's funny, let alone 300 seats, 400 seats, thousands, Madison Square Garden? How do you know these people you've never met, you've never had a conversation with, is going to laugh at the jokes that you try to tell? Well, there's a few ways. One, you actually put the work into your craft. Contrary to popular belief, comedians don't just write jokes and then go give you jokes. It's an art form. There's pacing, there's timing, there's setups, there's callbacks, there's work that goes into it before you even see the final product on tour, let alone what makes a special. A comedian can have jokes told one way at the beginning of a tour and perfected and told another way at the end. A lot of comedians, the good ones, they go to comedy clubs all over and they work out their material. Like, you get to go see big names like Chris Rock, who we're talking about today, will just pop up unannounced, Dave Chappelle, and work on their material. They'll bomb. It might not work, but that's the only way you can put an hour together. You have to go on stage, say it, rehearse it, see how people react, and trial and error. There's a lot of work. It's a lot of science. There's a lot of technique that goes into delivering you the punchline, which is what a lot of people wait for, right? They're just waiting for the joke. So that's one way to make them laugh. The other way is, once you get to a certain stature, like a Chris Rock or Bill Burr or Dave Chappelle, you would assume that the people that come out to see you or the people that watch your special are people that are familiar with your comedy and are fans of your comedy. Because believe it or not, I know this may be tough for a lot of people. There are different types of comedy, just like there are different types of movies. There are different types of music. There's different type of comedies. You have people that go political jokes all the time, relationship jokes all the time, race jokes all the time, dark humor jokes. Anthony Jeselnik, ever heard of him? You should YouTube him. All his jokes are dark, but the fans, people who are fans of him, know that that's part of the act. It's not him for real, or we don't know, but at least we assume that's part of the act. Great stuff, right? So that's another way you could tell if people will laugh, because you've worked hard enough to put yourself in a position where people are coming to see you. They're paying tickets, they're taking time off, they're paying for parking, they're buying clothes. I will hope that you do all that for a comedian that you actually know, or what type of style they're doing. I would just hope so, right? If you never heard of Patrice O'Neal, one of the greats, one of the GOATs, all the greats respect him. Gone way too soon, way too soon. You should YouTube a video when he was on Fox about 15 years ago with this lady, and he was basically defending comedy. Believe it or not, this has been going on for a long time. This whole cancel culture for the comics, I don't know if it's like waves and then it calms down or what, but this has been going on for a while. And you can watch the video for yourself, but what you can take from it is he was basically making a point that we want to fight for the attempt to make the joke, right? He goes on to say that a funny joke and an unfunny joke is birthed from the same place. They come from the same place. It's not until it hits or goes, it goes funny or not. Meaning, if I had to interpret what he was saying, is that it's not an ill intent. A comedian isn't writing this to go, I'm going to offend people. I'm trying to make you laugh, because back to how we started the show, that is literally my job. That is how I get paid, to write jokes and make people laugh. So that's what they're trying to do. He also said, if you're not in the place of funny, you shouldn't be able to dictate what is funny. Meaning, if you don't live in the space of stand-up and of trying to make people laugh, if that's not what you do, if that's not how you feed your family, then you should not be able to tell people what they can and can't say when it pertains to jokes. The metaphor I thought was a good one is a quarterback throws a pass, a perfect pass. The wide receiver bobbles it or misses it. We've seen this a lot of times, and it's intercepted by the defense. That's an interception for the quarterback. If you don't play the sport or follow the sport, you would go, well, that's not fair. He threw a perfect ball. That should fall on the receiver. No. We got to get rid of it. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Like, you're not in the space of comedy. Me personally, I love stand-up comedy. I watch comedy. And like I say, I like the inner workings of it. I'm not one of those audience members that are just waiting for the joke to see if I laugh or not. I'm already laughing or I already know where it's going, which makes it better because I'm paying attention to all the things I said, the pacing, the setups, the callbacks, the facial expressions. Like, if you pay attention to all those things, a stand-up comedy show can become 10 times greater, right? Before we get off that, again, check out that Patrice O'Neal video and check him out too. Great comedy. He would have been, man, I wish he was alive right now to speak on these things that are happening. So, let's see. So, let's talk about the Chris Rock special, right? Everybody's up in arms. He just dropped his Netflix special. It was a live showing, a live taping. And I want to go back and watch it because they had a lot of stuff in the beginning. Like, I think they had a bunch of comedians doing little sets. He was in between, and I think they had something afterwards. But I caught it late, so I just wanted to watch the show, the special, because, of course, you go online, everybody's hooting and hollering about it, right? Now, I will say, it wasn't his funniest. I'm a Chris Rock fan. Chris Rock is an acquired taste. He's not a Kevin Hart where all households just laugh at his stuff. He's an acquired taste. He's an old school comedian. He's an original. He's an OG. I appreciate his work. I've seen him live before. One of the best shows I've seen. This one wasn't funny from start to finish, but I knew it wasn't going to be that because of the elephant in the room, right? Speaking of Patrice O'Neal, that was his last special. He did Elephant in the Room. But the elephant in the room of him, if you didn't see him live or in person, this is our first time seeing him speak on the Will Smith incident from the Oscars last year, right? So, if you heard last year, they were like, as soon as that happened, his ticket sales went up, everything went up, they sold out. I know because I was looking at Chris Rock tickets, and then I went back afterwards and they were sold out. So that tells it, while that's good for a comedian, that also tells a comedian, great, people are coming in with preconceived notions. People are coming in to hear the drama, right? Which means that even if my set is good, even if my hour is good, until I speak on that issue, my jokes might not hit because, you know, it's like, that's cool. But what, he talked about Will Smith yet? Oh, that's a funny bit. But he talked about the Will Smith stuff yet? And he handled that with grace. Like, the special was great. Because I went in thinking, like, is he going to attack it? But then I also thought, him being the established comedian he is, it would be a waste of his career and his opportunity to try to mold an entire special around one minuscule incident in his life, right? In the grand scheme of things. So I was happy that, and I'm not going to spoil the special or the jokes, but I was happy that he addressed it how he did, when he did, and the way he went about it. I thought it was fantastic. I will say some of my favorite bits from the stand-up was the daughter bit, the dating young bit, and the good versus bad neighborhood bits. I thought those were hilarious, and I always love it when comedians start telling those jokes and you can hear the uneasiness. You can hear people like, do we laugh at that? Do we not laugh? Is that offensive? Because they love that. And I love it as an audience member because I'm like, you're supposed to be at a comedy show having a good time. You're not supposed to be trying to be politically correct in the crowd. Like, you're not even the comic. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, to each his own on that. I thought the fact that he had a full hour, basically. I mean, I shouldn't say this like it's Chris Rock, but he had a full hour. And in between, he would do something to let you know, like, oh, okay, it's coming. You know what I'm saying? So he was aware that 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are probably here to see what I have to say. But at the end of the day, I'm still a professional. And I respected that, right? Overall, I thought the set was great. I thought, again, to the things I said, I thought the way he was setting up jokes, I thought the callbacks were great. Callbacks are my favorite. Basically, a callback is they make a joke and they have the punchline to that joke. And then maybe 30 minutes later or whatever, they're doing their jokes and they throw it in and you like, like it's a give and take thing. It's a relation. It's a dance between the audience members and the comic. You need to pay attention to their jokes and their setups so you can appreciate it at the end or whatever they go about. So I thought that was great. I thought that he really was like, F this. Like, man, like he's always been that way, but this time it was like, I'm saying what I got. And this has nothing to do with Wilson. Just the jokes he was saying, you could tell he's just at that point. And I love when comedians get to that point where they're finally like, I'm untouchable in the sense of you can't cancel me. I'm not here trying to get a book deal. Like, I'm set. People gonna come see me regardless. It is what it is. Cause that's when you get the best comedy, in my opinion. But then you had people up in arms, taking things out of context. And this is what trips me out about I already made a podcast about cancel culture, but this is what trips me out about, how they go about things, right? I'm willing to bet 9 times out of 10, people who are freaking out about Chris Rock's stand-up online are freaking out about the 1-minute clip or the out of context clips that get posted, right? Because this is what they do. They post a clip and then they post all the negative reactions from Twitter. So before you even go see it or before you can make your own opinion, you already got one for yourself. And I'll tell you why that's so dangerous because, like I said, you can't take a joke out of context and just throw it out there they do it, but you cannot do it. First of all, that's disrespecting the art. But second of all, like I said, you don't know if that's a callback. You don't know the setup. You don't know anything outside of that specific thing that was said. And it's crazy to see like people from our community. I'm like, that blows my mind that it's 2 black men involved. So it's our community to begin with, right? But a man could get physically assaulted on national television. Like Oscars come on with like CBS, like you can see the Oscars with no cable. Like everybody can see the Oscars. He makes a light joke. I already made a show how I felt about it. I felt like that was G.I. Jane, nothing, right? Again, to the point of trying to make people laugh. That's why he was at the Oscars, right? He didn't just go to Jada Will's comments or to the red table. He was brought on. He used to he's hosted the Oscars. He was brought on because he's a comedian and his job is to make the room laugh. He made a G.I. Jane joke and it was I don't even care to get back into it. I already made a video about it. Gets physically assaulted, still remains professional, didn't go out in an all-out brawl, does his thing, doesn't really talk about it in the media too much, uses his art to express his viewpoint on it, never gets physical, never does anything, and y'all mad at this guy. That blows my mind. That's crazy. I felt like he handled it the right way. Like, what did everybody say? That would have been me, man. I would have fight, blah, blah, blah. Like, shooting, da, da, da. He would have had to see. The guy handled it with grace. You waited until what he's good at on his stage, on his mic in front of his audience, and didn't even mold his whole special around it. Just gave it its little light and rolled off into the sunset with it. And y'all, you're going for black women and the way he's talking. It's like, bro, shut up, bro. It's comedy, dude. It's comedy. It's crazy to me. And I'll end it with this. I'm a big stand-up fan. I love stand-up comedy. Sometimes I could just go on Netflix, names I never heard of, just turn it on and just watch it just to see what they brought to the table, or if I hear different jokes, I'm always interested to hear different perspectives, right? But even me, I miss a lot of stand-up. I almost missed it. The only reason why I knew about this was because everybody was talking about it. Like, I think I would have came around to it eventually, but everybody was talking about it. I miss a lot of stand-up of people I like and people I do not know, right? And I'm a big-time stand-up comedy buff. I find it crazy that somehow the people always hear or see the comedians they do not like. Of all the comedy that comes out, as far as I'm concerned, there could be a comedian out right now making millions of dollars saying racist stuff, saying sexist. We don't even know, right? I don't know, because why would I go to him if I knew about him, right? Or why would he be in my timeline? But somehow all the people that want to cancel comedians Somehow they saw the special, they heard the jokes, and they just didn't like it, as if that person sent them a DM message, as if that person went to their house or called their phone and said, hey, I got something to say to offend you. That's what blows my mind. It's like, they don't know. There's hundreds of thousands of people. They're going city to city to city. How do they know that you got some trauma or this joke directly affects you? And because it did, instead of it being like a horrible coincidence or like, whatever, all of a sudden you got to scream out, cancel this person because they offended you. Or that's crazy. How do y'all always see the comedians y'all don't like? I can barely see the ones I do like. Huh. Anyway, I thought the special was great. You should check it out on Netflix. They don't need my promo to do it, but that's just how much I love comedy. And I like I say, Patrice O'Neal was dealing with this 15 years ago. It's such an easy remedy. Like, just don't watch. Just don't watch. Don't listen. If somebody say, oh, there go Chris Rock again, turn the TV off, change the channel. I ain't trying to hear that. That's what I do. When people play stuff or suggest stuff of if it's music I'm not into or like reality shows, my wife wants to watch Teen Moms. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go upstairs. Or, all right, I'm gonna go do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't just sit there and just go like, oh my God, this is stupid. I mean, when I want to spend time with her, I'll sit there, then I can't help myself. But like, I'm not saying cancel Teen Mom or like they shouldn't. This is horrible. Like, I'm just talking crap watching the show. But you can just not listen or watch. It's not forced on you. None of these comedians are forced on you. Whatever. Oh, by the way, too, the podcast is called Improper Facts now. It's still Who Got the Aux Media as a media, but I feel like I always liked that name when I came up with it, and I feel like that's more of what I do. So this is the Improper Facts podcast. Ta-da! Thank you for listening to another episode. WhoGotTheAux.com for full audio episodes. Who Got the Aux, one word. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Who Got the Aux _ Twitter. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed, listened, liked, shared, commented, disliked. I love all the engagements. I love all the interactions. And yeah, man, try to laugh a little bit more. Try laughing before you cancel it. Laughing feels good. It's contagious. You can smile. It feels great, man. It's just nuts, man. I don't know. It's nuts. Anyway, see y'all at the next episode. I'm out.